In this tutorial, we're going to cover some basic searching. So at the end of our last tutorial, we were left with this screen, and I want to just show you a couple of options. So first of all, we could simply hit close all, and it would shut everything on the screen. If you go back to the layout that we were just at, which was Bible study, it'll open it all up again. Alternatively, you could simply right click on any one of these tabs. So if I right click on the English Standard Version tab and say there's these three options: close this tab, which would close the ESV tab; close other tabs, which would close the two other Bibles in this pane; or close all tabs would close everything in this pane. So if I select close all tabs, notice what happened: it closed this entire pane. And if I go over to this window and select close other tabs, it's going to close this one and just leave the search pane open. So that right click feature sometimes can be helpful if you've got a lot of things open. You don't want to close it all, but just leave one open. You can also return to this now, right click it again, and reopen close tab. So there's just a couple of options there. Right click is a fairly key move in Logos Bible software. So we're just going to close this pane, and we're going to navigate this search pane for this session. And you'll notice as you come across the top here, you get to more, and then there's a couple other options here. And you may be viewing this on your computer right now and have this menu all scrunched up. Well, that can happen if you're in the 150% or higher. Anything that's not 100% can scrunch this all up. So now we have these three options and a whole bunch more under more. And so the way that you kind of unscrunch all of those is either to make the search pane bigger, to take the whole window. So if I can drag it over and drop it there, even so, it's still got one more item on this list, or you can simply return it to 100%. So for this tutorial, because we want to see the whole menu, I've got the search window open in this one large window. So once again, the way you do that is simply go to the search icon here, and you drag it out until it grays out the whole screen and drop it there. So we're going to just look at this search pane. Searching in Logos is a powerful resource, and so you want to be able to navigate this with some efficiency. There's a lot of different categories of search. We're not going to look at them all. We're going to look at the key ones. So all, for example, basically searches everything in Logos. So you could just type any term in there and it would search it across all of your resources and all of their other internal resources that aren't really listed in your library. Then you can do a Bible search. You can do a books search, which is basically searching everything in your Bible, or everything in your library, pardon me. That would be set by default to all books. Then there's a fact book search, a morphological, a media search. We're not going to bother with those. We'll spend a bit of time looking at the maps search. And you can do a bookstore search. That is, you can search resources that you can purchase from there. So we're going to just start by a Bible search. This is where you will spend most of your time, and this is where I'd like you to be familiar. So once you select Bible search at the top, it changes this menu down here. So note that all search changes the menu below it, as does Bible. And in each one of these, there are some search helps, there's some basic operators. You can just use your scroll down feature on your mouse, and it's going to train you how to do some searches. So there's nothing that can really replace you spending time in here navigating through this. So we're going to search in Bible, and so it has selected the English Standard Version here. Now you can change which Bible you want to search in. All Bible text, and that's where I would suggest you just leave that. These are some other options that we won't worry about at the moment. This option says we're going to return the search results per verse. You can either return them per verse or per chapter. Returning your results per verse is the standard way you'd want to do this. And it's going to search all passages. That is, it's going to search Old Testament, New Testament, the complete English Standard Version. So the first thing I want to do is want to open a Bible so that we can display the search results as we're doing them. So I'm just going to left click on Bible here, which will bring up my preferred Bible, which is the English Standard Version. I want these to be in two separate panes, so we're going to do that through the layout menu. There's a number of ways you can do that. We do it through the layout menu, and we're just going to select two tiles. So now we've got the search pane on one side and our Bible on the other. The Bible is open to 1352. So if you're duplicating this search result on your computer, open the English Standard Version to 1352, and I'm just going to demonstrate some searching. So it says under search helps, if you type two words, love, neighbor, the search will find verses or chapters that contain both of these words. Well, we're going to test our searches by looking over here at our text, Matthew 13:52, which is the key text from our Greek as a Spiritual Discipline class. We've spent 11 weeks basically looking at this single text in the textbook, Scribes Trained for the Kingdom of Heaven by Gary Collier. And so we're just going to do some searches. So if we look for the word scribe and we look for the word trained, this will search for both of these words and return them in verses in all passages in the English Standard Version. So that's what this means. We're searching the English Standard Version. We're searching all biblical texts. We're going to return the results per verse in all passages. And it says, here's the results. There's two results, that is this word and this word, two results in one verse. Let me just close this for now. We're going to come back to multiple books display in a minute. And so in Matthew 13:52 is the only text in the ESV where both of these words occur. So that's one of the ways you can do a search, where this is basically an and search. This search is the same if you insert it in here in all caps, search and trained. So it's going to search for the word scribe, and it's going to search for the word trained and return them in a single verse. But you don't need to actually use the operator and. So if we clear the search window, we return to where the helps are. Now the next one they suggest is love or neighbor, so they're using an operator. Basic operators is down here. So to search for either word, you could use love or neighbor. So let's just try that. We'll do scribe, get the caps lock off, scribe, and now we're going to search for or, so those have to be in capitals, and we're going to search for trained. So this is going to search for the word scribed or the word trained. So it's going to return every verse in the English Standard Bible where either the word scribe occurs or the word trained occurs. And as you might guess, our search results are going to be quite a bit bigger. So we've got 35 results in 34 verses. The reason there's 35 results in 34 verses is because of our text here in Matthew 13:52, because there's two hits in one verse. So we have 35 results in 34 verses. So that was this or search, scribe or trained. And so we'll clear. So I've just highlighted that with my mouse, backspace, and we'll take us back to our search helps again. So we can search in quotation marks. So if you want a phrase search, you put the phrases in quotes. So if we go scribes, pardon me, I've got to get it in quotes, don't I? Scribe who has been. So there's a phrase, and the search results return this one hit. Scribe who has been. Scribe who has been. There's only one place this phrase occurs in the ESV. Well, let's do something that we know occurs a few more times than that. For example, kingdom of heaven. Put that in quotation marks, and we'll see that there are 32 results in 31 verses. So once again, that means that in one of the verses, the phrase kingdom of heaven occurs twice, and it highlights in our particular text here, kingdom of heaven. So if we scroll down through our results, what we discover is that all of the hits of kingdom of heaven are in Matthew's gospel. At this point, I want to show you this little charts icon at the top of the search pane. If I hit the charts icon now, I'm hovering over it, it says display results in charts tool. Well, we'll just left click that to see what that is. And so there's a graph Bible search results. So kingdom of heaven in the ESV, the number of results in book. So it's giving us a chart showing the number of results in a book. So it's got only one bar. Why? Because all the hits are in Matthew's gospel. So there's 32 hits in Matthew's gospel. If I hover over that, see the number 32 pops up, or you can see it on the bar chart here, 32 hits. Well, what if we'd like to see where in Matthew's gospel the most of the kingdom of heaven hits are? Then we would simply click on this number of results in book, and we would say we want number of results in chapter. And so the chart then returns hits per chapter. So it says there are 8 hits. You can see it on the left hand side. You can also mouse over it and just leave your cursor there. So there's 8 hits in Matthew chapter 13. So Matthew chapter 13 are where the bulk of the hits are, or the most, it's the chapter with the most hits in Matthew's gospel. Now there are several other ways you can return these results. If you click on the result map, I'm not sure where this opens when you first do a chart, display your results in the charts tool. It may open to this one. I never use this one, but if you'll notice, it's got the Pentateuch and history and poetry. Notice there's no hits in any of these. These little divisions here are all the different books. And then when we come to the Gospels, we got Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and history. That should be the book of Acts and all the Pauline epistles, the general epistles, and the Apocalypse, or the book of Revelation. So it's showing us that all the hits are here in Matthew. I don't particularly care for that chart. There's this bar chart. I typically use this one or the column chart. So the bar chart, once again, will change the results per chapter. And so the bar chart will display it like that. The column chart will do it the same way. Number of results in chapter. Or the pie chart. Now you can't change it to number of results in chapter in the pie chart. So if we just leave it at the bar chart, and we're just going to leave this open, results per chapter. So we'll go back, we'll click on this tab to keep the English Standard Version open, and we'll go back to our search results. So let's just, I highlighted it all. I'm going to backspace now, and it clears it all. Now it says an asterisk represents any number of characters in a word. So Christ with an asterisk matches Christ, Christian, Christ-like. So if we simply tried to find that, use that search parameter in Matthew 13:52, and we just typed SCRIB without the E on the end, put an asterisk in its place, hit enter, it's going to find the word scribe. Notice it finds scribes as well. So that's one way that you could search for all of the forms of the word scribe. So you get scribes, scribing, scribed, all sorts of things like that. You just got the first 4 letters of the word and then with an asterisk after it. You could also put the asterisk at the beginning. Asterisk, and then DOM would find, what does it find? Well, it finds kingdom in our text and wisdom. So you can do that kind of a search as well. Once again, highlight it, backspace. And while we're thinking about different forms of the word, let's just look at these 3 or 4 icons on the right-hand side of the screen here. So this first one says match case. So in other words, if you're searching for a word and you want to make sure you match the case. So for example, if you were looking for the word spirit, there we are, that's the word spirit, and you wanted to just search for the word spirit in the Bible, notice that the results come back with uppercase, capital S spirit, and small s spirit. And so a typical thing that English Bibles do is, if we're talking about the Spirit of God or the Holy Spirit, it will put it in capital letters. But this result, because we do not have this selected, is going to return the results for both. If we change this to match case, then it's only going to return spirit with the small s. And if we were to change our search to spirit with the large s, it's only going to return those results. So that's how you would change. You could use this option to match case. So we're just going to turn that off again. This option here, where it just has the ed, says match all forms. So you can think of this as scribe or scribed with an ed on the end. I'm not sure that shows up in the Bible anywhere, but this will match all forms. Oftentimes in English, this is a helpful feature to leave turned on. So if we search for scribe, it gets our hit. If we search for scribes, it also gets our hit. Why? Because we have this feature turned on, match all forms. If we turn the feature off, it's only going to look for the word scribes in plural and not scribes in singular. And so if you made your search then for scribes train, and you couldn't remember exactly, you knew there was the word scribe and train, and you thought it was scribes train, and you did that search, you're going to get no results if you're looking for exactly those 2 words. They do not occur. But if you turn on the match all forms, you get the hit we're looking for. So that's a pretty decent feature to leave turned on, as long as you remember what you're doing. So we're going to just turn it off again. This feature here we're just going to ignore for now. It doesn't typically apply to what we're doing. And the final feature I want to look at across this top menu is this one here. So if you hover over it, it says multiple books display. So let's do our search, scribes train. Well, let's just go back and get it so that we have a hit that works. Scribe trained, and there's our results. So these results are returned in the English Standard Version. Well, what if you'd like to see your results in more than one translation at the same time? That's what this icon over here is for, multiple books display. Now if I click on it, simply left click on that, it opens up 2 different translations at the same time. This second one is actually just the Greek text because I was in here before. But the first time you click on it, you're not likely going to get anything. So I'll unselect that. And so if you can click on that, you may not see any results at all. But if you click on the little drop-down menu to the right-hand side, that says it's asking you the question, which other translation would you like to be displayed along with the ESV? And so you can go down here and you can just say, well, I'm going to get rid of this recent. Yours will look just like this. You can say, well, I'd like the results returned in the ASV. So now when I click off the screen, now our scribe trained searches not only in the ESV, but it searches in the ASV at the same time. So now when you navigate your search results, if you want to see this in the ASV, you simply can click any of the highlighted results, and it's going to open the American Standard Version for you. So this can be a very helpful option to have multiple books display if you want to compare Bible translations. Because we have spent time in the basics of Greek, I'm going to suggest that a nice option is to use the SBLGNT, the Greek New Testament SBL edition, and to put that in there. So, did you see what just happened there? Because in the drop-down menu, there are two selected now, it's going to show two different, what did they call them? Two different books alongside of the ESV. So if you just want it now to show the Greek New Testament, we'll just uncheck the ASV, and there we have it. So let's click off of that again. Let's go back in there, and if so we have this recent window here that begins to populate as you continue to choose different resources. So I'll eliminate all of those. We could say save here, and if I click the save button and hit the save button again, now it creates a little saved space here, and so this will be one of the options that we have saved. So if we click off of that and we come back here, we can go right to one of the options we've saved, click on it, it opens it up. So this is a very helpful feature here, a multiple books display, and so you'll note here that scribe corresponds to grammatus on this side in the SBL, and if we click on the word grammatus, it opens the SBL. Okay, so that's this button here. So we'll just turn that off for a minute and continue to make our way through the other options in the menu. So let's clear this out one more time, backspace, and move down the screen a little bit here. So we've gone through, we're not going to bother with these two options here, or that one, help on searching. If you want to work through these things a little bit more, you can simply click on help menu, and it opens a manual within Logos Bible software. And within this manual, you can scroll around and find some help. And so it steps you through some of these things moment by moment. So we'll go ahead and close that. There's some basic operators. So I would suggest that you just take some time. And it's a good idea to have a text open like we have, to run some of these searches and see what you get. So for any of these basic operators, you could simply click on one of them, and it throws up a kind of a template for you. Christ within 10 characters, Jesus, and it gives you all the hits. So this is searching for the word Christ, and notice all this is in capital letters within 10, and that means characters, Jesus, and it returns those search results. By the way, let's clear that off. If you don't put your search operators in capital letters, like scribe, and then we go or trained, watch what happens. There's no results because it's searching for the word scribe and the word or and the word trained in a single verse, and they don't occur. And so the operators need to be in all caps, and then they work. Okay, so we're getting close to the end here. The other thing I want to do, I'm just going to close all the other resources now except the ESV. I'm going to right click on the ESV. I'm going to say close other tabs. So we've just got the ESV open, and we're going to run a search again. We'll search for, let's just search for kingdom, oops, not in caps, kingdom of heaven. So what am I going to get for results here? I'm not going to get a phrase search because I didn't put this in quotation marks. I'm going to get a search for every time the word kingdom and the word of and the word heaven occur in a single verse in the ESV. And so you'll notice in Daniel we've got of heaven and kingdom occur even. So we're not really searching for the phrase kingdom of heaven, but in our particular text, indeed the phrase shows up, but these other two hits with of show up here as well. So let's just put that in quotes to show the results of this particular phrase. There they are. So there's a number of ways now that you can navigate your search results. So the simplest way perhaps is to simply go down through the search pane. So I'm just scrolling up and down, or you can drag the scroll button up and down and you can get to the search result that you want. So we can go to Matthew 13:44 and simply you can left click on the reference here. That will take you there, or you can click within the highlighted text and that will take you there as well. The other feature that you might enjoy is this bar right here, and it has search result with a little down arrow beside it. If you click the little down arrow, this little bar can be changed to article, book, chapter, verse, search result, or annotation. So I just want to talk about this search result. So that's what's highlighted right now. Now, if you don't have this particular bar, let me show you how to activate it. So you can close it. If you look for more real estate on your screen, sometime you may not want it cluttered up with this, so you could simply close that and it's gone. And if you go to the kebab icon at the top right hand corner now, and you want to show that, it's called the Locator bar. Show Locator bar. It helps you to locate texts that you've searched for. So if you click Locator bar, and now with this search result showing up here, if you click the arrow up or the arrow down button beside it, it will simply take you to the next search result. So if I click it down once, you see that little ring that popped up there. It's focused on this one. If I click it again, it'll take us down to that one. If I click it again, it'll take us down to this one. You see how that works? So you can work through your Bible and see the larger context. So you scroll along on, I want to see what the next one is, and you scroll to it, and you can scroll up or down and read it in context. So this is a good feature. This will not be activated, however, if you have nothing in the search. So if I get rid of the search, all of a sudden, I don't even have the option. But if I put a search back in there, kingdom search, then in the, what do they call this bar again? In the locator bar, the search result thing shows up, and so you can just scroll through the text that way. We need to look at this as well. So in the search pane, we are now searching the English Standard Version. You could change that to any one of your other Bibles, or you could simply select Open All Bibles and search them all at the same time. Or what was I going to say next here? All passages. So this is returning the results across the entire ESV. So when you click the All Passages button, this is cursor's blinking at a reference range. So you can say, well, I just want New Testament. And if you click New Testament, then it's going to search in the New Testament alone. Or you can search simply the former prophets, and it will search in the former prophets. Or you can type a specific reference range in there. So if you said you just want the results in Matthew, you can simply type Matthew. At this point, you can simply hit the Enter key, and it will return the results just in Matthew's Gospel. Or once you type your reference range in there, say we just typed Luke, if you go down, because it populated this for us right away, you can simply say save and hit enter after that. And now we have a saved range in this drop down menu, and Luke is in there. Now you don't have to create those, but you could eventually create a saved range for every book in the Bible, or the reference range could be Matthew pardon me, Matthew 13. Could be a saved range. And we'll hit enter there. And so now it's going to search only within Matthew chapter 13. So you can create whatever saved range you want. For example, you could say Matthew to Mark, and that would just be Matthew to Mark, and it would not include Luke or John or anything else in the New Testament. So you can create whatever reference ranges you want. So I'm going to just back out of that particular range, and let's say I don't want to see these ranges anymore. You can hit the little delete icon to the side of them, and so you don't need to save your ranges. You can just type one in there, John, hit enter, and they're not part of the saved ranges. And then you can scroll down and change whatever other range you want. So let's return this. If we backspace out of that, you can go to all passages. There's our search for kingdom in the ASV and all passages. Now I want to consider how the different results can be viewed. I tend to like the passages view, which gives us the verse, the complete verse to look at. And if you change it to aligned view, what it does is align the search results. So we've got kingdom. If our search was kingdom of heaven, that's what would be highlighted here. So let's just do that. Kingdom of heaven as a phrase search. And so it shows it in an aligned form. I don't find this to be particularly helpful. And so there's also the grid view. And so this doesn't line it up. And so you just have to pick the view that you kind of like. You click on any one of these and it will take you to that view. The analysis view does some work for you. It searches for the phrase or searches for the word and presents you with a whole bunch of information on your search results, including the, so this is kind of a complex search result. And so we're not going to spend much time on that or on the fuzzy search. You can play with these if you want. But I'm just going to go back to passages. And so this is the typical way that I would use this search pane. So before we wrap up, we want to just look at two other types of searches. So we're going to we'll close this Bible. We're going to do a books search, and we're going to do a maps search. So a books search simply searches, we'll clear this search result, or search query. A books research searches all of the books in your library. So at present it's set to all books, all text, all passages. If we select all books and do the left mouse click, we can do all books, all open books, etc. And you can go down and scroll through book type and whatnot. And so if you want to search in a particular resource, so if you open your library and just close these, and we go to our encyclopedia, Lexham Bible Dictionary, and we want to search in one of our resources. And so say you want to search do a search in the Lexham Bible Dictionary. So if you're searching here and you just say, I just want to search in the Lexham Bible Dictionary, open books shows up LBD, Lexham Bible Dictionary. You can simply click there. And then you can follow the search helps down here. And so one of the interesting things may be to search for a Bible reference in a dictionary, for example. So does the Lexham Bible Dictionary deal with our particular text in any way? So if we search for Bible references, this is how you do it. So Bible, colon, and then put in quotation marks your text. So Bible, type Bible, colon, and then in quotation marks, Matthew, just empty, 13.52, close quote. We'll find every place in the Lexham Bible Dictionary where Matthew 13:52 is referenced. And so I hit that as an enter, and here are the results. So the results are categorized according to article. So this first hit is in the article called Matthew. And if you use the search results menu again and simply drop it down, it'll take you to the first hit. So here's it also occurs in scribes and affiliation in the New Testament, and then you could simply click to the hit itself, or you can go back to the article, you can read the article and discover where the hit is, those kinds of things. So that's how you can do a search for a biblical text in any one of your books in your library. And so you could simply go back and say, well, actually I want to do that in all books. And so it says now, and there's 95 results in all of your downloaded books. You can click this arrow and you can begin to navigate these. So it says in the Christian Standard Bible, or Word Studies in the New Testament. And so we've searched our complete library for all references to Matthew 13:52. So this could be helpful. Let's just back out of that. You can also search, do and searches or searches within any of the books in our Bibles as well. So we just have this phrase, in the 1st century AD, all scribes were not necessarily Torah scholars. And so just to demonstrate this, we could search the word Torah. And so I'm just going to hit Torah in all books. And so it's searched the complete library, but it's showing the results because we have the Lexham Bible Dictionary open. It's showing the results here. We can restrict this search to the Lexham Bible Dictionary if we don't want to task our computer too much, and it's going to return the results there. We can add to that search and say scholars, Torah scholars, and it hits that. So we've searched for both words. Or you could just remember that I was in the Lexham Bible Dictionary and it said something somewhere about professional writers. I remember the phrase, but I don't remember what article it is, so I'm going to go professional writers and put it in quotation marks, and lo and behold, that returns a result. So that's how you can do a search within a particular book across all of your books in the library, or just one book in your library. So the next thing we're going to do, we'll back out of that search, backspace out of it, it populates the search helps again. We're just going to search for maps one more time. So your software, the free version, comes with quite a few maps resources. So if you just search for Jerusalem, and so you get a number of things that show up here. We can just search for Jerusalem, the city. And then we have the atlas with 46 results. You could click on any one of these. We'll just try that. In my computer, it opened on my other window. And so there's Jerusalem in a map. Let's just close that. If you hit the little down arrow here, it'll minimize that. And then there's all these other results. So we could just pick one of these, open it up. It opens up to this map of Jerusalem. If you just use the scroll button on your mouse, it will zoom in and out for you. You can drag it around, and there is a map of Jerusalem. And so that's how you can use the maps icon. So I've just showed you a couple of those features there that might be helpful to you. So I'm just going to close both of these and go back to a Bible search and clear the results. And so that's the end of this tutorial on how to use the search pane in Logos, the free version.